slot yet. I'm scoping out who goes live when they go live, and if I'm stepping on somebody's toes, sorry. This is the thing I do. Yeah, that's my burger from Wendy's. But where am I? I am in a cemetery. And I will get out and walk you around some of the graves in a minute. It's a thing I used to do. Well, actually, used to live like 100 yards from the cemetery. It was founded by the Odd Fellows in 1854 as a rural cemetery. It is now smack dab in the middle of the city. There are sections that are just for like Civil War burials. I can't eat my burger one-handed, so it's gonna have to wait. Hi guys, hi Stu, hi Sherry Ann. Thank you for joining me. I was gonna let you just sit and watch me eat my burger, but I decided that was a slight bit rude. This is still a cemetery that's in use. There's another halfway up the hill. I mean, they still do burials down here for families that have plots, but there's another section up top for more recent things. But this is something, okay, trigger warning, very sad. I don't know all of these people, but we have a baby ward. The names have washed off of other and here we have the mother who died in 1922. I'm guessing that these were all children along there. Can't really see. Mary. There's a volunteer group that comes together on weekends to repair and maintain this historic section. They repair the stone is missing. They probably took it to repair it, and then they will reset it. Nala lion. Well, these are all graves, and the people are buried underground. Back there is a crypt where they would be above ground inside the locked building. But otherwise, this is all places where people are buried. I usually don't get down to this section because it's all downhill, and I usually go uphill where there's very interesting things. See, like here at the bottom of this one, you can see where they've reset it at some time, and that will get reset. Who we got here? Somebody 1890. Sorry about all of the background car noise. You can see we're on it. It's now against a very busy highway. This is a stone they've repaired. Nancy V., wife of Joshua Atwood, April, looks like 25th, 1878. Aged 54 years, 10 months. So how is everybody today? Hi, little witchy one. Hi, Zaron plays for hours. Hey, Stage Rat. I am pretty good today. I had to run errands. And for those that you missed it at the beginning, I used to always come to this cemetery. I used to live near it to begin with, but then when I was in town, I would come to this cemetery to eat my lunch. And so I got my lunch and I came and I was like, okay, well, I'll eat with you guys and you can sit and watch me eat. And I was like, yeah, right. They want to see historic cemetery or something besides you eating. This is in Oregon, Salem, Oregon. We have here Mr. William H. Watkins, born 1835, died 1889. And it's a family plot, but the stones are in poor shape, so you can't see who all the other people are, unfortunately. This is a stone here that, yes, there's always vandalism, there's time. I mean, this stone was put here in 1891, so it's, but as I said, there's a volunteer crew that comes here on weekends to repair the stones. It's fairly well patrolled by, I don't know if it's a park service. I ran into them one day when they told me that due to cutbacks, they were closing early, so I couldn't come in. They were closing at like 4 p.m. and I couldn't come in. There is a bigger section up top that still has historic graves that's open till dark. Let's look at these tall ones here. You can see some pretty fancy monuments, at least for the area. Chitwood. That's a stone that's been repaired. They need benches. Why do these people not have benches? Back in the back, we have Baby Ruth. So we have somebody tucked in here that died in 2007. But the family here goes back to, that one's 1875. Why are we at a cemetery? Good question, Mitski fan. As I was saying, I used to come here to eat my lunch, and so I came here to eat my lunch and thought I'd share this cemetery with you because I enjoy. This one is not so quiet with the highway here, but generally cemeteries, graveyards are pretty quiet, and you can sit and have a peaceful moment. And there is a difference between a cemetery and a graveyard. A graveyard has a church on it or is attached to a church. Anything else is a cemetery. Yes, we almost never get snow here. We usually get snow one day in the winter or 2 days in the winter. And rarely we'll get an ice storm. This year there's been no snow here. just rain. We've had some nice sunny days like this, so we're lucky. Yeah, I'm not so familiar with this area down here because, like I say, I usually go up that way. There's a crypt over there, another crypt there. There's very few crypts. Those are very expensive. The World War II vet there. Excuse me. The damp air makes me cough. I'm not sick. And here we have I have no idea. Can't read these ones. I do try to avoid walking on the actual grave sites. I try to be respectful of them. Yeah, well, I wanted snow. I always want snow. I love snow. And I'm living in a place that never gets snow. Nice sage. This was 1868. Rachel, wife of Lewis Johnson, born in 1814. And there's other people here. Died 1863, 1887, 1861. Nobody on the backside. Well, I've been trying to do an actual live stream. I did a test that was about 2 minutes long, and then it took YouTube 12 hours to process it and load it back to my page. And since I didn't want to just sit and talk at people, I thought we'd take a little walk through the cemetery. Besides, it's a good way to get in a little exercise that's interesting because I'm not a jogger. I'm not walking at the mall or down the roads. So it gets me out and gets me moving. And yeah, you could sit here staring at my face. Or you get a little local death history. It's always astounds me when some of the paranormal groups are doing their lives or their investigations at like abandoned properties, and the property was built in like 1600s and it's abandoned. Sometimes they're newer, in the 1800s. And if that was in America, hey, Sarah Bobera, Banana Fana Bobera, Sarah. Probably butchered the song, but that's okay. In the U.S., something built in the 1800s or 1700s, especially 1700s, there's very few buildings left of that. Americans do not have a good connection with our history. So we tear down old buildings all the time to build new ones. And it's like, oh my God, you're tearing down our history. But lurk away, Sarah. Thank you for joining us. This is sort of a out of the blue live. But as I was saying, here, a building built in the 1800s is a huge thing. It would be on the historical register. It would be protected and all that, most generally. And in the UK, they're standing abandoned. I mean, buildings hundreds of years old are just standing abandoned, falling in decay. It's like, oh my God, you people. You do not know what you have there. If you were living in my country, well, in my country, the building would have been torn down and metal and concrete something built there. What are these? These tulips? Whatever these are, okay. Brain is not in flower mode today. They are found all over. They grow because of the early settlers planted these flowers everywhere and they've spread. They're not like an invasive species. They don't hurt anything, but like on every highway you'll see them growing. You'll see them growing in areas where there used to be homesteads. So they're kind of a reminder of the people who came here in the early days and tried to build a life for themselves. Died 1865. Eliza, wife of William Russell. She was 31 years at her death. Oh my God, these guys really went into it. 31 years, 7 months, 225 days. Nowadays we put birth, death, and There you go. There's a hole where something's digging its way under. One of the few crypts here. This is Lucinda, wife of Charles Swegel, born in Ohio in 1828, died 1894. Swegel there's a road and high school here named Swegel, and that's one of the founders of Salem, Oregon. We have Matthias and his wife, and that's a stone that's been repaired by the volunteers. Thank you, Sage. Daffodils. Yes, there are parishes here, and I do know about Parish High School, Sage. I'm not certain. I may have to drive up to another section because walking uphill is a bit much today, but I believe one of the crypts might belong to the parishes. I do know they have a large family plot here. It's very cool to... Laura, get off my lawn! Hello, Laura. See, this is what you do with a cemetery. You walk through it. You don't just look at Bill's pictures that he posts and say, oh, that's sweet. You actually walk through the cemetery in the middle of winter. Of course, we are lucky. By everybody else's standards, we're lucky because we don't get snow. I want snow, but I'm the oddball that grew up in snow country and loves snow. So we get rain, we get fog, sometimes we do get freezing temperatures and ice, but for the most part, none of that snow. Laura, have you heard of snow boots? Maybe a shovel? Which I love to give you a hard time. So, as I said, I often used to come here to eat my lunch, and I was going to do that today, but then I thought, hey, how about going live? Okay, so Thurston seems he was named in honor of the first territorial delegate to the 1850 United States Congress. And this stone was placed by the Thurston County Commissioners, 1991. We are not in Thurston County. Thurston County is now in Washington. It used to be part of the Oregon Territory, but the territories all got chopped up when they turned them into states. My grandmother, born in the early 1900s, was born in Oklahoma Territory. I forget the fort, but I have it all in writing. And her and her family, which people don't realize how far we've gone in 100 years or less. Early 1900s, her and her family took a wagon train. This is in the 1900s. Took a wagon train to Oregon. They obviously didn't stay. They went all over the West and ended up in Wyoming, which is where I'm from. But my grandma went on a wagon train, and that's where she picked up an extra brother named Opal. His parents died on the wagon train, and my great-grandparents took him in, and he was part of the family. Well, even in my mom's time, we're talking 1940s, horse and wagons were still in use in a lot in Wyoming. 1930s, 1940s. One area where they lived, they took a wagon or horses down to the river. Then they took a boat across the river. Then they got horses or a horse and buggy on the other side of the river to take them a good day's drive into town. And that was 1930s and 40s. So we're very lucky now. Laura, get yourself a pair of those chest waders the fishermen use. I can imagine you. I grew up in those times. I can imagine you bundled up in a snowsuit with snow boots and your mittens and your hat and your hood and looking like a little Inuit, a little little Pillsbury Doughboy wrapped in all your cold weather clothes like we used to have to do when we were kids. So I grew up in Wyoming. Sorry, I'm trying to wedge this in a spot of a tree. See this tree? I'm trying to wedge this phone into this. I don't have a selfie stick or one of those gimbals that keeps your camera level all the time. In fact, I could probably turn you. It won't let me turn you upside down. It says orientation is locked. But I'm trying to put down my phone for a second. So I have my hands. I don't have to put you in my pocket, which God knows what's in my pocket. You would all run away screaming. My pants are falling down. I don't have a belt on today. I've got no butt. I've got no hips. I'm big and rotund, and my pants fall down anyway. I look like a Mack truck and a logger had a baby together. I have wide shoulders, very narrow hips, and no butt. And I have found in life that the reason your pants stay up is because you've got a butt. I know that sounds weird. The question is that why butts were invented? Because we had butts before we had pants. So pants were engineered around hanging on to a person's butt? Huh. Oops, finger in the way. Sage, I think I am a log truck. I could well be a log truck. I always thought I was more of a dump truck, but you are right there. Oregon does have a preponderance of logging trucks. What direction is that? The sun's over here, which would indicate that way is more west. This way, they're kind of cockeyed. Well, it's a thing. It's a thing in Christian cultures, at least, and maybe others, is that you bury people with their toes to the east and their head to the west, because it's supposed to be on Judgment Day. They'll sit up out of their coffins and greet Jesus, and they can only do that if they're facing east. Hey, I don't make this stuff up. Oh. But so that's a land navigation thing. If mostly in the States, if you're in a cemetery or a graveyard, you can look and see how people are buried to know which direction, north, south, east, and west is. Thank you, Laura. Yes, I am sturdy stock. I'm sorry that you had that problem, Laura. I usually have to wear a belt, and some of my funnier stories consist of me not wearing a belt on one day, and my arms are full doing something, and my pants start shimmying down my hips. Luckily, I live out in the country where there's nobody to witness this debacle, but yeah, there are times I'd ended up doing the scoot walk with my pants around my ankles, or stepping out of them entirely. Oh, speaking of I'm sturdy stuff, when I was an infant, the doctor hefted me in his hands and told my mom and dad I was going to grow up to be a piano mover. So yeah, I was chunky from the start. And I have moved pianos, so hey, dude was a psychic. See there? I think the same doctor, when I was a toddler or slightly older, told my mom that I was terminally clumsy. I didn't have any medical issue, and I would not grow out of this clumsiness, that I was terminally clumsy. Terminal means you're going to die, so I'm going to die of clumsiness, which really makes sense with the number of face plants I've taken and staggers and running into things and knocking things off. And partner and Gail always said, I have no concept of my body in space. Which I sort of don't, but it's not my fault because I wear cargo pants and they've got big pockets and they catch on everything. I don't have a butt that catches on anything, so, I'm good there. But, yeah, I've always been clumsy. I've always fallen. I've always run into things. And I take life at full tilt. So, if I thought about it and slowed down once in a while, I probably wouldn't get into half of the situations I get into. I do, some of you might, we call it intuition or something along those lines, where you have a thought just a bit before something happens. Like precognition. For me, it's like a 3-second precognition, which isn't long enough to get it into my head to not end up in a situation. Well, one time it did work because a couple times it's worked. Like I've looked at a window and said that window's going to fall out. And so I took the window out and set it down and it didn't fall out. Or I was walking through a parking lot and I had a sudden thought, intuition, this guy's going to put his car, there was a guy getting ready to back out of space. And in my head, I had the sudden thought, this guy's going to put it in wrong gear and it's going to jump forward and I will be crushed between the front ends of two cars. So I stopped and I waited a second. Sure enough, he put it in drive instead of reverse and he bumped forward and stopped just an inch from the car in front of him. So I would have been toast. Now, the time I didn't listen was I was out feeding a few cows that we had. I don't know, messing around in their pasture or whatever. And there was a feeder along one side that was part of the fence that we could throw in hay on the outside and the cows could walk up and eat on the inside. And as I was walking up, I had this thought, I should climb the fence to get past these cows. That bull is going to kick me. And of course, it didn't get into my synapses or, I dismissed it or whatnot. Living all my life with cows, I should know better. And I should know to listen to my intuition, but no. So I walk up to go walk past the cows and climb through the feeder to get out. And sure enough, this bull nails me in the right knee. Severed my anterior cruciate ligament in my right knee. And on the MRI, you could see a perfect cow hoof print on my leg. So, yeah, that was rather painful. And, I went down, I almost got sick. Whatever noise I made spooked the cows, and I went between the mature female cows, crawled into the feeder and hollered for some people that were there doing some work to get me out of the feeder and so I could get to the hospital. That's another side note, useless knowledge that people don't know, but you should. All bovines are cattle. All cows or cattle? They're all cows. They're all cows. Blanket description, cows. Male cows are bulls. Female cows, it depends on their age. If they're like a year old, they're about ready to have their first, they're gonna have their first calf, or they're that age to have a calf. Those are heifers. Then you've got 2-year-olds. That's obviously cows that are 2 years old. And then you have just straight cows, which is everybody above the age of 2 years. Oh, you also have weaners, which are the calves that are of weaning age. And of course, calves, which are just calves. They're not cows yet, they're just calves. And you're sitting there wondering, why am I listening? I cannot get this time back. Why would I even want to know about cows? These are minutes of life I can never get back. And I say to that, you're welcome. You're very welcome. So I'll see. I'll probably cut this off at an hour. I've been sitting here with Lottie Pound Gilbert. This is a 100-year-old tree or more. They probably planted, there's several of them. They planted a sapling and now it's taking out the cemetery. Steers, yes, Sage, steers. Boy cows with no more cojones, who had been neuterized, fixed, castrated. So here's an example of stones that the volunteers have repaired. It's 1856. I mean, sometimes parts get lost, people steal parts, so it's not a complete arch. This is John and Sarah Dell, 1863. Anything else I missed, Sage? Cows can be superiorly smart and absolute idiots. And sometimes you just have to shake your head and go, I have no clue what they were even thinking. The cows I used to have, because, well, I used to raise them for beef, so you know the herd changes. Some go and some come. Anyway, this herd at the time, which 5-10 years ago, they would get out. My cows always get out. It's a thing in my life that they always get out. But the whole herd of them would come down to my house, which is a couple hundred yards away from their pasture, down the driveway to my front yard, and stand there bawling until I got up and into their field. It's like, I mean, that was brilliant, but why couldn't you go back in the way you got out? Why did you have to you got out just to come walk about and see me? I'm not quite, understanding that, but those were good cows, though. I liked them. Yes, it's also true. It's true of about 90% of cow breeds. Both sexes will grow horns. I have Scottish Highlands and I let their horns grow. The thing is that for most, there is a breed called polled Herefords. Polled cows have been bred until they naturally don't have horns. For most of the cows that you see without horns, that means that there was an intervention when they were young to cauterize or freeze the base of their horns so they would not grow. Same with goats. I just let my goats have their horns. It didn't bother me. In Europe, goats all have horns. Most of their cows have horns. But yeah, so when my cows get out, I get told my bull is running amok, and people are all scared and everything. I'm like, that's not a bull. You gotta look for the telltale under the belly thing if you get by drift. Or the big bull balls between the hind legs, just like the bull they erected on Wall Street, who has giant brass balls that are the shiny part of that statue because people fondle the balls. Hey, I'm not making this up. I wish I was, because, who the heck sees this giant bronze statue of bull and says, hey, I want to go over and touch his privates? Yes, I grew up on a cattle ranch. I know way more about cows than I ever wanted to know. But here we have the Jordan family. The ones with the huge monuments are usually families that were founders here or had a major part in building the state. All the interesting things people used to do to demarcate, fence in their hello, what do we got? Ambulance. You know, if you see something like this, a little animal figure on top, something like that, that usually means it's a small child or an infant. Well, one reason I like cemeteries is because of the history, because it shows you, it tells you a lot about how people lived, how families had, you know, back then, high infant mortality, so sometimes there are a multitude of infant graves in a particular family. You can see the socioeconomic of the people at the time, in that who could afford a giant monument or even a crypt, and who could only afford a simple stone. Esmond here has a lamb and the best I can make out, they died as a child. They seem to be on a family plot, but there are no other. See, these things, that defines a family plot. They would put in bricks, they'd put in stones, they would, like over here, they would build fences. Over there is a huge fence. And those people were likely very well off. Because even in death, we want to stake our territory and have, you know, not have interlopers, not having people sneak into our, what we would define as sacred space, or our property that we bought when we were alive for our death. See, there's been a lot of repairs on this monument. But the stones are pretty washed out. We have a son, 2 years old. We have father, who I would guess is John Martin, an unknown that they have to come in and repair the stone. I mean, see, some of these families are still in the area, still their descendants are here, and they will come in and they will put in new grave markers. Maybe they'll even see, this is a new grave marker because they passed in 1867 and 1930. And looks like a daughter in 1880. 1880, age 19. But this is a brand new monument. And this, they decided to pave their plot. With it, appears to be concrete, cement. And yes, back in those times, the 1800s and beyond, there were grave robbers, and they often did what they had to do to keep their loved ones safe after death. That's very interesting, Sage. Thank you. Ah, Mr. Prism. Hello there. How is Mr. and Mrs. Prism today? Or for you, it's middle of the night, maybe? You want to know any more useless trivia about cemeteries? Well, the fact that several of these have concrete or paved over really does make sense even now, because there was a man, he is currently on charges for robbing and selling human parts and grave goods, and they estimated that he robbed from 360 graves in Pennsylvania. And he was selling them online. He was very open about it. It's like, why it took you that long? Seriously? Well, you had to get a tip? But yes, it's just part of the sad state is that many of our older cemeteries, as the families move away or die out, here you can see my Jeep, my raccoon. That tire's flat, by the way. It's got a sidewall puncture, and I'm waiting for the money to replace it. So for now, it holds up my tire holder. And yes, my tires are very low. Low on tread, not low in how much air they have in them. Oh, don't look in my car. My God, it's a mess. What the hell are you people thinking? No, seriously. Just mind your own damn business. Scroll or something. It's my Jeep. That's my mud. That's my ducks. For people not here or from around here, that's my burger that got abandoned. Anyway, over here, if you want to, some people do, I do, you see a Jeep, you put a rubber duck on it. You leave a rubber duck there. And it's called You've Been Ducked. And so I have a couple boxes of rubber ducks in here to leave on vehicles. I have a number that have been left on my vehicle or given to me. Here's one. Let's get her hat back on her. I don't know. So here's one. This woman gave me, the hat was glued on, but in the heat of a car, the glue comes loose, and she put a little thing on the bottom so it would fit in your heater vent. I'm guessing she also did the sparkles and the bling. There is you could say that some people have too much time on their hands. There's my ducks. Two of my ducks. Here's my favorite duck. He's a penguin duck. And I have an army duck down here, a devil duck, a Frankenstein duck, and some other duck. I can't tell what it is. I'm not going to pull it out because those are, although army duck looks like he might fall out at some point. This could be a premonition. I don't want to move them because they've been there for a year or more, and they just sort of settle into a place. Hello, Mrs. Prism. Hello, Angie Burke. For those of you just joining me, we were doing a cemetery walk. I was going to eat my sandwich here, but I couldn't hold the camera and eat the burger at the same time, so it has sat on my dash going cold and slipping apart. The cheese slips. And did a walk around this is Salem, Oregon, Salem Pioneer Cemetery. Founded in 1854 by the Oddfellows as a rural cemetery. It is now smack dab in the middle of town because town is built all around it. And there's a second cemetery up top of the hill. We could drive up there. I'll think about it. Maybe I'll do that one next time. It's a newer section. There are still some of these people from the 1800s who have descendants living here who are still buried in the family plots down in this section. The upper section is far more new graves. I mean, more recent, not just dug today. You know, it's not like there's 100 open graves up there, but in the latter half of the 20th century to now are utilized the most. And there is a honoring veterans memorial up there that has veterans from many different wars buried there. And you're quackers, Sage. Oh. Yeah, I'm trying. This is my first official live. I did a test live. I got Pauline visited during that. It was only 2 minutes long, so people didn't have a chance to really pop in because I was just trying to figure out the mechanics of it. So basically, you might say I'm still throwing things at the wall and sees what sticks. Sage, you are hilarious. No, I'm not sick. It's allergies and it's cold, moist air that makes my lungs not happy. I am healthy, relatively speaking. And now I get distracted. See, that's it, squirrels. I'm trying to figure out, because, there's plenty of debunking channels, and I'm not a great debunker. I'm also not as cynical or skeptic as most of the debunkers. I'm a believer. I believe in a lot of things that, you know, people poo-poo, but, you know, I figure that's their right and my right, and everybody should believe what they want to believe. So my channel might just be random lives where I come up with something to talk about. I do have a number of topics, such as skinwalkers, wendigos, cryptids, mediums. A lot of what I want to talk about in a regular live is culture and the paranormal. How different cultures view things differently, and how investigators and debunkers have to take the local or the culture of the people involved into account. So, you know, culture and religion change. It's like this. It's like cemeteries. Okay, it used to be a thing. It did. That families would go out and, you know, care for the graves of their loved ones. They wouldn't just come and drop off flowers. If it was like Veterans Day was coming up, they'd go the day before, clean up the spot, clean up their area, and then they would come on the official holiday or day of remembrance to actually lay flowers or flags. Same with Memorial Day. Generally, people would come out on the Saturday before, clean up all of their people's places, and then they will come out on Memorial Day to lay flowers. So, you know, that's the way people used to be, and that's a cultural thing, and it's something that is really going away from, and so people don't understand why there might be spirits at a cemetery when back in the day you wanted to make sure that your kids, your family, your descendants were taking care of your grave. It was a serious thing that you had to do right by your people and take care of their places of rest. That was honoring them. And so it does not surprise me that spirits might come to see, are they taking care of my grave? Are they still remembering me? That's sort of the thing. Are they remembering me? So, and basically it could be like a coffee clutch, you know. They come, there's other spirits there. The more spirits hang out, they, you know, do what spirits do, talking, whatever. And, you know, it's a safe place to hang out because generally you don't have people saying, can you knock on the wall? Can you move something? You know, that's, all of this is my opinion. You may not like it. You can say what you wish, but in the end of the day, get over yourselves. I'm not really like that. Get off my lawn. That's what I'm like. So I think I may, whoa, 74 minutes. Dang. Okay, I see why some of these, okay, Crow is the worst. Admit it. Crow of Judas is the worst. He will say, quickie live, and 3 hours later, still live. You know it's true. I can trash talk my friends and acquaintances. When in 100 years, when Laura passes, they're going to put a giant glass dome over her uh, resting spot so they can put all of her miniature houses in there. Okay, the best ones I've seen. Okay, they're out in Wyoming. I have to when I'm out in Wyoming, I'll do a grave walk for you. And like, there's one where they've set up a small satellite dish on his headstone, with the cable running down into the grave and a remote laying on the headstone. But I yes, yes, Mrs. Prism. Wherever Laura's miniature houses go, it will become a thing. It will become a thing. It'll be bigger than Annabelle, because it's going to be like Laura's haunted minis. And wherever they are, people are going to have things happen. Laura is going to be really, really busy. I can tell you that. Or Laura's spirit will be busy, because dang, she's going to have to haunt hundreds of little houses. Hi, Tina girl. How are you? Thank you all. Sorry if you're just now popping in. I don't have a regular time yet. I'm trying to see when everybody else is going on, because, I'm not trying to step on toes or trying to compete with some of the big dogs. So right now I'm just a floating live stream. Catch me if you can. Hey, you want to see me? You can see me. I'm able to do that. I can press a little button and put myself in the Laura's going to light up the malls at night. Whoa, that'll be sweet. Another haunted mall. We don't have enough haunted malls, really. I mean, think of places where people spend the most time. You want to hang out in an empty church or a busy mall? All the little tricks you can pull. That's right. Hunting my live stream will be like hunting ghosts. You might find me, you might not. You might find me and wish you hadn't found me. I'm looking rather good today, a bit youngish. Nope. Put the glasses back on. You're going to be doing weird faces. We're not doing that. Yes, I started wearing a mask because I wasn't exactly comfortable on the camera. Plus, my face does what it wants. I'm in a live stream and I look and I'm like, I'm being serious here, and face, you are just all over the place. You are making faces. You're being weird. Not cool. Not cool, face. Mr. Prism, good idea. A haunted guitar store. Oh, that would be sweet. Instruments that play when nobody's in front of them. Picks that wander to different areas. See, that's it. You can't just have a life plan. You got to have a death plan. You got to figure out where you're going to haunt, what you're going to do, and you know, because you don't want to wait till the last minute and go, oh my God, they tore that place down. I can't haunt an empty lot. Know what I'm going to do. Yes, Tina. Excuse me. Sorry. I would pause or mute, but I don't know how to do that yet. So you all can learn with me. But hi, Nicola. Nicola. Welcome, Nicola. Nicola Big Nell. Just practicing names because you know how we do when we're in a live, or you know, we're commenting on a premiere or something, we shorten it to like the first 4 letters or whatever. Only lately we've ended up with a ton of Sarahs, 3 Lauras. You all got to change your names. You got to get together, figure out who's going to be Laura and who the other people are going to be, okay? or spell your name different, you know, like, I don't know. That's your problem, not mine. Figure it out. Yeah, this is kind of what my lives are going to be, is just me jabbering on about nonsense. At least you got some, a good cemetery walk and get to talk a little bit about Salem, Oregon. Not the place of my birth, but we're also on a hill here, so those people had to build a retaining wall to make their entire place flat, and there's steps down there. So they went all out. Okay. Thank you all. I'll let you all go now and get on with my day, I guess. Go do something useful. That's what I should do. But it's good to see you all here. Thank you for attending my first official live. And now I know why they say it's a awkward ending, because you're like, okay, how do I end this? For me, seriously, how do I shut this thing off? All right. Bye, peoples. Okay, I'll give you one. How did we do it when we were kids? We like pushed up our nose. I don't think you can do this one one-handed. Oh well. Bye, all.